Victor Marx, thank you for your time.
Great to be with you.
So you have agreed to debate your Republican opponents on 9 News next week, and that discussion is going to focus on policy. Our conversation here is going to talk about your backgrounds and your qualification.
Great.
The stories that you tell about your life and your accomplishments are extraordinary. How much of it's true?
All of it.
Easy enough. You describe yourself as a high-risk missionary, a renowned martial artist, you're a ministry leader, you're a speaker, you're an author. What qualifies you to be the governor of Colorado?
Let's say first is, what are the qualifications to be governor? The main one for me, you first got to care for people. You got to truly care for Coloradans. Because if it's just some type of job, it's going to be reflected in the way you run the state. I think it's reflected right now in how bad the state is. So, and then it's a CEO position. It's not a legislator. And that matters, to be able to build teams out, probably assign the right people in the right positions to help run the state. And that's one of the things I do well. I build out solid teams.
One claim that you make as central to your life story and your accomplishments, to me, stands out above all of the others. And it's about saving women and children.
Yeah.
Your campaign website falsely claimed that you had rescued more than 45,000 women and children, and that claim has since been taken down. How many women and children have you rescued from captivity and abuse?
Well, regarding the 45,000, is that the number you're making reference to? Never did I ever say that I rescued 45,000 women and children. And I mean, I've been doing this for years. Our ministry website never claimed that. Our current campaign website doesn't say it. I think what happened, the best that we can see, is an independent contractor put together our first, website for the campaign, and then that individual inadvertently put rescued, and it was corrected as soon as we knew.
So mistakes happen, I understand that. How many women and children have you rescued?
We've never publicly given the number out for security reasons, and we don't have a need to. I would say it's more than one and less than a bunch. Our desire is to protect those that we have and our current network that's in place. So there's no benefit from us.
Giving a number would put people in danger.
Yes.
How does the number put people in danger?
I think if those that we've disrupted, nefarious characters and organizations, had the number, it would put us and our network at much greater risk than we are now.
You certainly fundraise off of your ability to rescue women and children. In 2021, you said we're best known for recovering women and children from ISIS. You said to donors in 2022, your donation empowers us to rescue women, children, and the exploited. You said in 2024 to donors, your faithful support helps to set captives free. But you're saying that your donors and voters don't get to know how many people you've actually rescued.
What I'm saying is, people trust that the work that we've done, which we've documented throughout all the years, is sufficient enough so that we don't put either those we've helped or us in unreasonable danger because of it. It's when we say, our mission statement is to set captives free, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I think what I've always said is true. We're best known for rescuing and recovering because people, whether military or the special operations community or law enforcement, people who are in that realm have, especially in the beginning, are shocked that we've been able to do some of the things that we've done.
You certainly do use specific rescue numbers, though, when you feel that it suits your purposes. You wrote in February of this year, just last month our team rescued 43 children from the grips of evil predators. Where did that rescue of 43 children happen?
In the U.S., and that was by, through, and with law enforcement through a special operations that we do with protecting children's innocence.
Are you referring to Operation Northern Lights in Florida?
Yes.
Okay. So the U.S. Marshals named 25 partner agencies, including 2 rescue ministries that were involved in that operation. They said nothing about you and your ministry. But you're claiming credit for those 43 rescues? They didn't even mention you.
Yeah, not credit, participation in what we do.
You said our team rescued 43 children, and the marshals who ran that operation named 25 partners and never said a word about you.
Does that mean we didn't help them?
No, I'm just curious why you think that is.
We don't require that we be listed or named in any operations. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
When you say our team rescued 43 children, what did your team specifically do?
Well, when I say our team's expanded associate team members in what we do. We were part of seeing 43 kids being rescued.
What part?
Training, equipping. Again, the Protecting Children's Innocence Task Force, we come alongside to help law enforcement do what they do best.
You give folks grants so that they can hire officers, they can buy vehicles, they can get technology, that kind of thing. And your own organization, PCI, says that you do so without directing cases. So you're not actually involved in the actual rescues themselves in those situations.
The kinetic rescues here in the U.S., no.
No. So when you say our team rescued 43 children from the grips of evil predators, you mean to say your organization gave a grant to officers who went out and rescued those kids?
Well, were any of those officers here at our retreat center getting trained? That could have been.
When were those MOUs signed? Because I see dates in September of 2025. That raid was in late 2025.
Yeah. You would need to check with Buddy Jericho, who's the commander of the task force.
And your campaign manager, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't hold on to those details like that.
Okay. I want to talk about some of the specifics of what you will share about your rescues. You said that you've performed more than 130 missions to rescue women and children from terror and abuse. Your organization says that you've saved women and children from 30 nations. 30 nations. That's a lot of countries. Could you list off a bunch of those for me?
Start with the first.
Yes, sir.
What did I say?
You said that, it's in 2024, you said that you've performed more than 130, quote, missions to rescue women and children from terror and abuse. Is what you said factually true, that you have performed more than 130 missions to rescue women and children from terror and abuse?
Where do you cite that?
You said that on X on August 12th of 2024.
That's not something I believe I would ever say.
Your full quote was, I wrote this book, Dangerous Gentlemen,
Yes.
after 130 plus missions to rescue women and children from terror and abuse. So that's not true, what you wrote.
That doesn't sound accurate, that I would specify how many missions.
Okay, I'm happy to provide you with a copy afterwards.
Thanks.
Yep. Your organization claims that you've saved women and children in 30 nations, and I was wondering if you could list off a bunch of those countries.
Saved or helped?
Quote, saved women and children in 30 nations. That was from the Protecting Children's Innocence Task Force fact sheet.
Well, I would say check with Buddy. Again, our commander. I don't hold on to stats.
But I mean, you're the CEO of the organization. If you really have saved women and children in 30 nations, you could name off a bunch, right?
I don't memorize every place that we've gone.
Okay.
That's why I got a passport.
You said that you have, quote, never failed at a mission, which is quite a claim. Yeah. Elite military units would envy that success rate. In decades of what you describe as this high-risk work, you've never had an unsuccessful mission.
I would say we've accomplished the mission and never failed at what we were wanting to accomplish. I mean, there have definitely been challenges and variables, but yeah, we're really excited that we've been able to accomplish what we have.
I want to return again to the core question about what I think is the biggest claim that you make about your life's accomplishments, this idea of rescuing women and children. You'll share the number of missions that you've supposedly gone on, these rescue missions, 130 plus. You will say how many countries you've supposedly rescued women and children from, 30. You will share very specific totals of individual operations, like the 43 kids in Florida.
Yeah.
But you won't provide a total number.
No.
Because it will endanger safety and security.
Of everything that we do.
Let me throw out another theory about why you won't share the number.
Well, let me ask you, why do you think it's so important that we present the entire number? Why?
Or even just a ballpark, so that people have some idea if you're telling the truth and the scope of impact that you've had. Anytime somebody's running for public office and they claim to have done something, I ask them for proof, and in lieu of proof, I at least ask them for specifics. You have no proof, and you have no specifics.
That's not true.
You won't offer the specifics. What is the proof that you have rescued significant numbers of women and children?
Well, I just walked you through our training center.
You show me your own photographs,
yeah,
which are not proof of anything other than the fact that you took a photo with someone.
What do you think is required of proof?
I would even be willing to let you set the bar other than something that is simply, I verify it by saying it myself. I've heard you say the proof is a video I made, a promotional video I made. The proof is a photo I took. The proof is my book. You get that we can't rely on you to verify your own stories, right? Like, who can independently verify that you have rescued significant numbers of women and children?
Well, I think a video was just put out. We didn't ask for it, but...
The promotional video with the people saying that you saved them. Who are those people? Where are they? How can we talk to them? How can we corroborate their stories?
Well, I mean, they made it public. That's in Southeast Asia. But I can tell you this, without reservation, I have no need to prove to anyone what we've done over the last many years, because we know what we've done. People believing it or not, it has no bearing on our work.
Let me throw out another theory and you can tell me what you think about it.
Okay.
What if the reason that you won't say how many women and children that you've rescued is because that number is actually quite small? But admitting that would hurt your fundraising. And now it would hurt your political campaign. So you cite individual stories of rescues, this one story in depth, this one story in depth, and then you tie those individual anecdotes together with big numbers, like we've helped 45,000 women and children. And if people think that your operation is bigger and more impactful than it is, it helps you financially, and it now helps you politically.
I don't think that's true. And whether people think we rescued 1 or 100 or 300 or 3,000, I think the response is still going to be the same. We're doing the work that we say we do. And if people want to give, we're not some big marketing machine. If people want to give to the ministry, like, we don't even do fundraisers, they give. If people want to support me as a candidate based on my life or what we've done, that's just one aspect. They can. But I'm a person of integrity that won't compromise or risk. Always, I'd rather be misunderstood than risk putting anybody in danger, or network, or kids or women that we've helped, because we still do the work.
I want to talk about other claims that you've made about your life. And a lot of your life's work is centered around and motivated by childhood abuse. Mm-hmm. That your stepfather forced you at age 3 to behead a cat and put it on your head.
One moment.
Yeah, please.
Motivated. What do you mean by that?
Meaning you seek to help children because you were hurt as a child.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Yeah, fair.
Okay. So you've talked about how your stepfather forced you at age 3 to behead a cat and wear it on your head. that your stepfather
It
made
was
you
the carcass of the cat.
carcass of the
not
cat,
the head.
that your stepfather made you shoot and kill a man when you were 7.
Yep.
I heard more than a decade ago you refer to those claims as unprovables or non-provables.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that, and how should voters now assess claims that you acknowledge can't be proven?
Yeah. Well, I think people who've been abused will best understand this, that horrible things happen to children that you can't prove. And those are the things that actually, I think, hurt a person worse, because you want to be able to have justice brought on your abusers. For me, those acts were done without the aid of other people that could help me collaborate it, and I was a child. So me working through it my entire life, I mean, there were definitely what I would say the horrible results of abuse that I wish I didn't have to deal with as a kid and a young man, but I did. So the people that understand it most are those who've suffered abuses where, again, was it videoed, was there pictures? Back in the 60s and 70s, not so much.
Sure, nobody expects you to prove it. I guess, is there a part of your life story that can't be scrutinized, or is it all fair game for people to look at?
It's all fair game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your claim that your abusive stepfather forced you to kill a man when you were 7 years old, is that the only person you've ever killed?
Well, I would say as a child, yes. I mean, without question. But I've been in other situations where, possibly people or persons died as a result of me defending myself in other countries. There's no count on that, and there's no photos but that was something as a kid without a doubt. Yeah.
Do you think that you've killed people as an adult?
Does it matter?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Why?
Like, killing somebody's a pretty weighty thing.
If someone's trying to kill you or you're in combat?
It's still a weighty thing to take somebody else's life. I mean, it could be self-defense, it could be justified, but it's still a weighty thing. So I'm just asking you, how many people have you killed?
Well, if I did, I wouldn't be telling a reporter sitting here in my training center.
How about voters? Would you tell voters?
There's no need. I don't think that's important. It's actually it's an odd question to me.
It's funny, you describe it as an odd question because you actually talk about the idea of killing people with some frequency, and why it's a necessary thing to do, killing people. You said on NRA TV in 2017, now a lot of them just got to be killed. I've had them shoot at me and I had to shoot back. There's a time and place to eliminate the enemy, and you have to. You said on Jeff Lerner's podcast in 2025, some people have to get killed. Some people have to die. But it's an odd question to ask you how many people you've killed.
Yes.
Okay. You claim that you once called in a U.S. military airstrike that killed 70 ISIS fighters. I didn't realize that civilians could essentially facilitate military airstrikes. Could you walk me through how that worked?
No.
You've previously spoken about the details.
Didn't say them.
Well, I don't want to read back your own words to you. I'm curious how you would describe the act of calling in a military airstrike that killed 70 people.
I'd like to hear my own words.
Honestly, I don't want to spend our interview time reading your own words back to you. I'd rather ask you some other questions that I think are of pertinent interest. You told a church congregation earlier this month that you caught child traffickers at the U.S.-Mexico border and, quote, made them pay a price. Yeah. Can you tell us what your ministry was doing catching human smugglers at the border and what the price was that you made them pay?
We were working both with the National Guard and the Border Patrol. And we were helping children and women crossing over. That was that night. That was memorable. But receiving kids crossing the river, it was a horrible reality. And then later that night, in a different part of the river, we caught men smuggling children over. And we were, again, the Border Patrol took care of that.
When you say the words, we caught them, do you mean your team caught them or you watched the Border Patrol catch them?
We identified them, we were by ourselves, and then we brought in Border Patrol.
And then you said, quote, we made them pay a price. What was the price that you made them pay?
Consequences through the Border Patrol.
Last night when you told the same story at your town hall, you said, we caught guys bringing kids in, they got their feelings hurt. You use that phrase, hurting people's feelings, frequently for acts of violence, right? Beating somebody up, shooting somebody, killing somebody. Did any of those things happen to those smugglers that you caught when you said they got their feelings hurt?
I believe when I use the term feelings hurt, that could literally mean hurting someone's emotional feelings and sometimes other things, but we were not involved in any acts of violence against those traffickers. They were arrested by Border Patrol.
You perform exorcisms, commanding demons to come out of people. Can you explain to me how that works?
When you say I perform exorcisms.
Yeah. You described yourself as a quote-unquote reluctant exorcist.
Right.
Yeah. Describe to me how your exorcisms work when you command demons out.
Well, that's a joke, the way I say that. But as a follower of Christ and someone who's very familiar with evil, that's been both forced upon me as a kid and then seeing the effects of it in humans' lives, I believe the Word of God that I can pray for people and see people set free from whether it's demonic oppression. I never call it possession. I believe there's levels of demonization where people are suffering because of evil.
But could you explain to folks who have never witnessed this, don't understand how it works? I've heard you describe it a number of times. You've got the two angels with the swords, you've got the circle of judgment, and you command the demons out of someone. Can you explain to folks how that works so they can hear you describe it?
Well, I don't command the demons to come out of someone. I think of them as assignments or attachments to people. And we identify the demon like Jesus did. We ask what their name is, and then we give them commands. And they very frequently and typically will answer through the person's mind. They'll tell us what they hear, and then we destroy them, banish them to perfect judgment from Christ.
You also perform these exorcisms by phone. Are those just as effective?
They are.
You claim to have cast demons out of a number of people, including your friend and the late conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. You claim to have cast demons out of a high-ranking Pentagon official and other celebrities. If you're elected governor, would you continue to perform exorcisms while governor?
Well, let's make sure we get the semantics right. It's not casting demons out of people. It's breaking strongholds, which are evil, oppressive. I mean, I think there are people out there that suffer tremendously because of evil. And I would never stop praying for people.
Can I ask an ignorant question? You're going to
Sure.
say you've asked 13, but no, here's my question. When you do command the demon at the end of the retooling prayer, the demon stays inside the person?
I'm not saying the demon was ever inside the person.
Assigned to the person?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for clarifying
So
that.
assignment or attachment,
Okay.
not inside of a person.
Where does the demon go at the end of the exorcism?
We send them to the footstool of Jesus Christ, who we believe is sitting at the right hand of the Father, who then absolutely gives them perfect judgment of what happens.
You don't charge for the exorcisms, right?
No.
Okay. But they were part of the how-to guide that was available on your website for $99, the Spiritual Warfare Guide with battle tools and resources. It's no longer available on the site.
I think that's a film, and it's always, whatever we have posted with that was You can pay $1.99 or, yeah.
You did have a pay-as-you-could function on that. And the exorcism thing was also part of the Unseen War movie, right, at the end?
Right.
And when I checked last night, that was on sale on your website for $19.95.
Well, that's a film about retooling and the prayer, but we've never charged. I've never looked at a person and asked for remuneration for casting demons to Christ or praying for someone.
Gotcha.
No, I would never do that.
And you and your wife keep recordings of these sessions.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, where people will often divulge very sensitive, painful things about their lives.
Sometimes.
And you maintain a recording of those?
No, we tell the person to record them.
You do not keep a recording yourself?
Sometimes we record them if they don't have a phone, and we'll send it to them. But our practice is to say, Kyle, turn your phone on, record this prayer, which is normally 10, 15 minutes. That way you can refer back to it and go, what? I don't remember what was said, or what did he pray?
Yep. That actually reminds me, I think we lost track of a question earlier, because you corrected me on the casting the demons out, and I appreciate you explaining that. So by the last count that I saw, you said you had performed at least like 800 of these exorcisms? It's okay if you don't know an exact number, but I heard you say 800 at one point. Does that sound fair?
That does.
Okay. Would you continue to perform exorcisms as governor?
Well, let's go back to, you got to change the terminology. They're not exorcisms. They're simply praying for people who are oppressed or have strongholds of evil. So I don't perform exorcisms.
So when you called yourself a reluctant exorcist?
That's my sense of humor.
Okay.
Yeah, that's...
So commanding demons to leave people alone is not an exorcism?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no. No. I mean, I think exorcisms are more performed by Catholic priests. What I'm doing is just praying for people who have been oppressed by evil. And the results are astonishing in an incredible way.
You would acknowledge that there's a difference between prayer, which many, many people do daily, if not many times a day, and then the idea of giving specific commandments to demons, which is the specialization that you have, that you've taught other people to do. It's different than just a simple prayer.
No, it's just prayer.
The way that you command the demons to do this and that is just simple prayer?
Yeah.
Okay. Last question for you.
That's
all of us
it.
deal
One
with,
more. That's it.
I want to
Come
be
on.
respectful of your time.
Thank you.
All of us have to deal with the reality of life. All of us have to deal with other people's perceptions of us.
Yeah.
Do you understand why so many of your critics think you're a con man?
No.
Don't have the slightest idea why they would think that.
I wouldn't say the slightest idea, but I don't know how they justify taking in a position that I'm a con man. That doesn't resonate with me at all.
Some prefer the word grifter.
I had to look it up.
Sure.
No,
When you looked it up, didn't seem like you?
not at all.
This is not unique to you, certainly. You don't seem to hold your critics in high esteem.
Depends on what they're being critical about me.
Do you think any of them have good points?
Depending on what are they criticizing me about.
Hiding the number of your rescues?
No.
Okay. Victor Marx, I appreciate your time. Thanks for having us here.
Well, thanks for coming here, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
You bet, man.